So a cold open. Would you like to cold open, or are we started?
That's the cold open.
There we go, son.
We're in.
Okay, well, welcome back to Just Not Crick Pod. Hello, it's me, Matt, and it's you, Jamie. Hello.
Hello.
He's fresh back from Greece. We've already had our Greek chat, and that was off air, so I'm betting you're sad you missed it. But you did have the good pun from it, the pop in Greece. Was that yours? I'm pretty sure that was yours.
I mean, I don't think you know anyone else that makes cricket puns.
No, it's
So
it was up there for me because you've done a lot of like had enough. Had enough might be my all-time fave.
I think that
Yeah.
um I don't know. I made Dhananjaya into one. I think that
Yeah,
was
I think wasn't there a time where it's just trying to find all these like cricket names and trying to punify them? Maybe that will be a podcast we can do or a post that might be fun.
yeah.
Cricket puns. All right. If you've got a cricket pun, let us know. Um, I can't remember when the last time we did a episode was, so I'm not sure if what we're going to talk about is out of date or in date, but we'll see.
I don't even remember what we talked about in the last one.
No, good point. Yeah. But I'm sure if you listened, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But you're back again. Welcome. So I've got a little bit of intro. So last time we introduced Quick News, which is quick news quickly. So I've kind of done the same thing again, but it's going to be a nice intro for you back into the world of cricket because as you normally do, you take a step away between podcasts and then you're introduced again to the cricket, I believe. So
In my
first of all,
defense this time, I was in a different country for some of
this
that.
is true, and I mean everyone loves cricket in Greece. I'm sure they must have a team somewhere.
Oh, like everywhere we went, it was like there's two teams playing cricket.
Yeah.
That they loved it. That's all they do.
Oh gosh, yeah, the Athens Royals or whatever. That'd be great. The Athens Super Kings. Oh, maybe. If you're in Greece and you're listening to this, I'll put a hashtag Greece on it. So just in case, and you like cricket, let us know. Are you a batter or you a bowler? Do you have batters or bowlers? Do you have a team? Can we join?
Do you want to play for our team?
Yeah, please. Well, Jamie, so here we go. So this is quick news or like a little kind of short story of cricket. So the Test summer is here. Get excited. It starts tomorrow, and England kick it off against Ireland in a one-off four-day test. Does it matter? Ireland's captain may not think so. You like folks and wokes? Too bad they're not playing. Bairstow's back and Tongue is getting a debut, which I know you're very
Yeah.
excited. The World Chess Championship final between India and Australia is happening next week. I forgot about it. I guess you did.
I
Did you even know? There we are.
What?
Well, that's happening. So we might talk about that if we remember slash care. The Chennai Super Kings won the IPL. After that tournament went on for about 4 years, they needed 10 off two, the last two balls, and Jadeja was batting, so of course they did it. MS Dhoni at 41 saying, "Now I'll do another season," even though he got out first baller, but it's MS Dhoni, so vibes. Um, we've got a bit about T20 Blast tickets. They're selling well or not selling well. Don't ask me, but maybe check out Just Not Crick Pod's post, which got 57,000 views for some reason. Jason Roy is off to play franchise cricket forever. And as usual, the future of Test cricket is doomed. All meanwhile, the Whippets are still awaiting their first game. All right. I think that
Uh,
covers it.
yeah, that's the pod. Just not crick. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Um, that's what I could find. That's the stuff I think that has mattered in the last time, or what the talk of the town is since we've last spoke.
I have
Um,
a semantic complaint about one of them. Is
oh, go on.
the England Ireland match a test match if it's only 4 days?
Well,
Is
this
it
is the
just not a
thing.
first class?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I feel like for a while they wanted to really push 4-day Test cricket very recently. I think they when Ireland played last time, the game we saw, and Leach got 92. Classic. Very hot. I think that was probably like an exhibition way of like, let's see how it goes and see is this something that we can do. But no other team has done it since. So this has only been the second 4 day test, and it just feels a bit exhibition-y. It just feels a bit tacked on, and it does have that feeling that there's no real build up to it. Um, it's just sort of happening almost like a warm-up game for England, I would say, for the Ashes. Um, I just miss the kind of two test series a summer. So you'd have two or three against, say, I don't know, and no disrespect, like a minorish test team, I would say, and that gives them more limelight. So you'd have Windies or Bangladesh or New Zealand when they're still finding their way. You'd give them a three-match series, and then you'd have a 4 or 5 tests against an Australia, an India, or South Africa, that kind of thing at the end of summer. So yeah, you just kind of bookend it, but now that becomes more difficult with the IPL going on forever. Um, so that's possibly not going to happen. So we've now got a 4 day test bunged on. Um, and as I said in my little intro-y thing, does it matter? Because underlining this, obviously you've got the IPL just finished. Um, Anderson's not going to be playing. Robinson's not going to be playing because they're being rested for the more important thing. Um, but I think more so, it almost doesn't matter to Ireland. That's the kind of thing which has come out most recently. I'll find you what Andy Balboni said, the captain, earlier today in press stuff, if I can find it. Um, because basically, first of all, they're without Josh Little, who's one of their very exciting bowlers who did really well in the T20 World Cup. He's had a contract in the IPL um, for one of the teams. I think they got to the final. They're Hardik Pandya's team. I forget something Titans.
They've all got
Um,
confusing names that are hard to remember. Like,
exactly.
just,
Um, so he played in that, and he played a predominant role in their team, and I think played in the final. Um, and ipso facto is now not going to play a Test match for Ireland at Lords, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, that's not. He should be prioritising Ireland and Test cricket and stuff." Um, but like you say, it's 4 days, doesn't matter. And also Ireland have to qualify for the 50 over World Cup, I think later this month or next month, which I think Josh Little will be available for. So Andy Balboni has said this today. Um, we're going to be playing a qualifier in Scotland in front of maybe 30 people against Italy, and that's going to be more important than the test match. I don't want that to sound disrespectful to England or the ECB because we're absolutely going to do our best and try to get a result. And it's an honour to play at Lords against England, but it's a one-off test in the middle of summer. So it's like if you've got the captain kind of coming out already before the game start and being like, this is nice, thanks, I really like this, but this is more important than this. And it's kind of just a no, I mean, I guess a little bit of Test cricket, and it's really exciting when Ireland got Test status, but nothing's really happened with it. They kind of get maybe 2 or 3 games a year if they're lucky, and then the one they did get against England is just kind of a slapped on 4 day game when they've got other priorities later in the year and other some of their most important players aren't available. I think there's also stuff with some of the other players, like people like Tim Mercer and stuff, who got FIFA last time. I think if there's a few contract issues with county players that they can't play for Ireland sometimes their county contracts. It all gets very confusing. So then it's like, well, what's the point? And who are you playing? It's just you're playing just kind of anyone in a test team, but it's does it matter? Does it matter, Jamie? Does it matter?
I mean, no, like it's not a test match. It's 4 days.
No.
You can't count that as a test match. Does it matter towards the test championship for Ireland? No. Like they're not going to get there even if they were taken seriously as a test nation. But they're not. Test matches are like a closed shop between England, Australia, India, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Windies, and they sort of let Bangladesh sort of knock around a bit. But even then, I think Bangladesh are a bit disrespected. Like we've
Yeah.
had Afghanistan trying to sort of break into the test match scene. Ireland, you would say if you ask them, you'd say they'd want to get like a bit more respect test match. But
Yeah.
white ball is how they like grow themselves as a nation in the sport. So obviously they're going to take ODIs and T20s more seriously because like the other nations take them seriously in those competitions.
Yeah.
So from their perspective, who gives a shit about it? Honestly.
Yeah.
And like from England's perspective, it's just a friendly for basically a pre-season match before the Ashes. Like
Yeah.
what you said before about having a couple of test matches against a nation that you don't usually play. Like we've had it with Windies several times. Like,
Yeah.
there was one series I think with Tino Best.
That was great. That he got
Oh
95 or something.
yeah, and he was bowling amazingly
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we should have that sort of series at the start of every summer.
Yeah.
And we should be trying to push Ireland, Afghanistan, Bangladesh forward into those slots to
Yeah.
help promote them. But then you've got like the issue of there's so much cricket going on, can you fit it in? And then with
Yeah.
the smaller nations, it's more understandable for them to go off into franchise leagues because that's where they're going to be
Yeah.
making the majority of the money. Whereas, say, England players have a legitimate choice. They can play for England and make a lot of money, or they can go to IPL and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
If I was
It's
Josh Little, I'd have been playing that IPL final.
yeah.
Like,
Of
fuck
course
this
you would.
game, honest.
Of course you would. Absolutely. Like you wouldn't look back. Like, and that becomes the issue because if you were to say let's bring back another two batch late mid-May, early June test series. Say you had two test series, it could be two match test series against Ireland could play one at Lords and I don't know, one at another test ground. It doesn't normally get one like I don't know, a Durham. Or yeah, Durham used to host test matches, or someone who's not getting one of the five, like Trent Bridge isn't getting an Ashes test, so they could have a second test, something like
Go
that.
Taunton, go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, a smaller ground, why not? Yeah, Rose Bowl, or GS Bowl, or just Fish Bowl, whatever bowl. Um, a two match series against an Ireland or an Afghanistan or a West Indies, a Bangladesh or a Zimbabwe. All these players you don't really get many tests, but like you say, the players in those teams, both England and these other countries, most of their players will be prioritizing IPL. So then what kind of test series are you then playing? Are you basically playing like an England Lions team versus a Ireland B team or whatever? How much importance does it have? It all comes down to like money, what grounds are going to host it. And, we'll talk about tickets in a bit. Does a Lord still, charge a crazy amount for, a team captained by Ollie Pope instead of Ben Stokes, for example? But then if you push it back, say if you had a two match series starting now, you then can't do that because then the 100 is taking up priority in August. So there's no international cricket there. So does that mean you then put another test series in September? Is there's just too much? I think we've just spoken about it to death, but it's just too much all the time because these windows for franchises are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon they're just going to engulf everything. And suddenly you'll have like a matinee test series and it'll just be one that England will play at home every year. And that's just kind of the way it's going, and no one's really doing anything to stop it. And that's the train, that's the hype train. Um, it is what it is. I'm baffled that last year we managed to get two test series and a series test match against India, but I guess they didn't have the 100 prioritizing August at that point. Um, so yeah, happy day. So about this test match that's happening tomorrow. We'll talk about it. We'll preview it because we'll still watch it or take a look. Potentially. 4 days. And England have already named their side. They named it yesterday, and today is the eve before the test match. And it's not really, but there was one surprise. I was going to say it's not surprising, but there is one surprise. So the 11, do you reckon you can name it? Can you remember what it is?
Oh, I've not even seen it. I know two
Do you want to take
players.
a guess then? Do you want to
Go
go
on.
have a guess? Have a guess. See
Okay,
if you can
so
try to spoil it.
Crawley,
Yes.
Duckett,
Yes.
Pope.
Duckett's first home test match as well, just in a way.
Oh, Pope at three.
Over at three, vice
Root.
captain, Root.
now it gets tricky because I don't know if Stokes is fit. So I'm just going to say Bairstow for now.
I can give you a spoiler that Stokes is fit.
Stokes. Josh Tongue, biggest hype selection there ever
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Brody,
yeah,
Leach,
yeah.
Jimmy,
No,
Jimmy,
it'd be
uh, fucking Wood. I don't know.
no. What would you say you would use in the kitchen? It would be something and pans.
Potts.
Potts, yeah, there he is. I'm very happy with Matt Potts because he's had a very good pre-season for Durham as well. I think he did very well last year. And I think I'm glad to see him give another crack because I don't really think he's going to play many of the Ashes games, so it's good to see him have a go.
Weird that it
Um,
included
mm,
Broad and not Jimmy, and then included both Tongue and Potts as like a see how you go sort of thing. Like, why would you just not add another bowler into there to like just
I
give them an
mean,
opportunity? Because you know Broad's going to play, and
yeah,
probably no Leach is going to play. So why not just
yeah,
have four bowlers, give them all a chance, see what happens,
yeah,
like that fourth horse for course sort of spot.
yeah. It's I guess they wanted that kind of experience in there, but I mean, you could potentially have that with Wokes. But I mean, I guess we're talking about the players who aren't there suddenly. Um, um, but I think the Wokes one. I feel bad for Wokes because he's just one of these players you just like to see do well. He's a nice guy, stay Wokes. Um, but if they had played him over Tongue, and I know Tongue is a bit of a shock to be playing, considering he's not necessarily had the best county season so far. He's averaging about 40 with the ball.
Nah, it's the
Um,
hypest thing ever. It's
but
more
it's
hype than Jofra coming
it,
back. Josh Tongue
exactly,
today.
yeah, it's a vibe selection because they know he's got a bit about him, he's got a bit of pace, and they can see a bit of a diamond in the rough there, and they want to just give it a go. And there's no better chance to give him a debut than against Ireland in the 4-day test. It doesn't matter.
That's not the best.
In the 4-day exhibition game, it doesn't matter. But people also forget that he played for the Lions in the winter, and he also got a fifer in Sri Lanka for the Lions, which I think is pretty good going for a fast bowler.
You say
Um,
forget, but did people actually know that that's in the first place?
Oh yeah. It is a first class fixture. It also
Uh,
people like Alex Lee's played in that, got 100 and things like that. I think they played two games in Sri Lanka actually. I wasn't thinking might have been just the one. Um, but I think to get 5 wickets in that kind of those kind of conditions for a quick bowler is very good. Um, so yeah, maybe it's not common knowledge, but I think people and a lot of reports basically spouting out that they just picked him because he got Smith out. It's like no, they obviously they've got reasoning before that, but yeah, I think it makes sense. Give him a go, give him a crack. It's vibes. Um, he's probably not going to play in the Ashes. He could do very well here and get a go if Wood gets injured, but Wood will be their go-to. Um, but yeah, if they had gone Wokes and it had been Wokes, Broad, Potts, and Leach, it's that kind of feels Joe Root era or like Chris Silverwood era. Like this is safe. They'll get the job done against Ireland. Will we learn anything? Probably not. Um, but this way, it's a good chance then to see, because Stokes and McCullum are not going to be able to see Tongue for much, have they? So it's a good opportunity for them to see how he goes and how quick he goes and that kind of stuff. So I think definitely give him a go. The whole Broad thing, I think experience in there. I mean, he's more likely going to play in the Ashes than Wokes is. Um, so give him a go, I suppose. Um, but it's good about Tongue because I think it was originally like 14 months ago or so. Like he was considering retirement because he had a long onset of injuries and was seriously considering giving up the game. Um, and then now to come around about 14 months later, making a Test debut, I think is a great story and good luck to him. It's good to see. Um, But yeah, and it's a Worcestershire lad, so we'll be rooting for him, I'm sure.
yeah, local club. One of
Yeah.
the few players that disappointed me in my uh, title-winning season on Cricket Captain.
But on the online fixture, did get a good 70 or something.
Yes, he put on a smashing like 150 partnership with Wayne
Yeah,
Parnell.
yeah.
And the season after I won the championship, he left, leading wicket taker. So he's got form.
This always seems to happen that players that we meme upon, people like, a Ravi or whatever, will always go and end up and do something, or a Keezy or whatever. There's something always happens and it's suddenly brought to limelight that, we manifested something?
I mean, I feel like we've always, whenever we've memed someone, they've gone into obscurity.
Hmm.
Like,
But this is the opposite, yeah.
yeah, Keezy, unfortunately, Michael Clark, uh,
Yeah. Oh goodness. It's
God,
true, yeah.
Sibbers, fucking hell, Dom Sibley.
Sibbers, yeah. We
Oh,
we were massive for Sibbers, but sad.
I
Um,
guess Jofra for captain as well. He's been memed into
and now he's probably never going to play Test
you
cricket again.
fucking this. Fuck. But Josh Tongue is where it's at. This is the new
Just tongue
player
is,
I'm latching everything on. So he's going
yeah,
to
and
the Ashes
I
full-handedly.
I really want to see him do it. Obviously, he's the first Worcestershire player since Moeen Ali to make his Test debut for England.
There's another one
Um,
we've memed.
yeah, but I mean, Mo has had a pretty good career, I would say. I mean, he's maybe not reached the potential of what he maybe should have done,
I will also say
but
I don't think it's entirely his fault. He's been fucked around a
no,
bit.
I think he's been moved around too much and things like that. But yeah, I would agree. But happy for Tongue. The the other main point of contention, I'll quickly briefly talk about Stokes, who came out today. He's obviously declared himself fit. He only played 2 games at the IPL, so spent a couple of months just basically getting fit and sorting out his knee problems and things like that. He said he feels as fit as he did during 2019, 2020, which I guess is good. That's where he feels that with his fitness. Whether that means he's going to bowl, he says he's absolutely going to give it his all and things like that. But whether his body can take that, I mean, 4 years ago since 2019 is quite a long time for a rickety old body like Stokes is. Um,
We can't all be Jimmy.
yeah, no, but he has said that the only way he won't be playing a test match this summer if he physically cannot walk. So he's, I guess, going to be playing in any kind of capacity. I don't know what that might look like come end of or beginning of July or end of July in the final Ashes test. If he's going to be a bit like a flint off and hobbling at the end, mid off. But I mean, good. I hope.
Like on the one hand, the mentality is great. On
Yeah,
the other, you have to have some sort of
yeah,
intelligence about whether
yeah,
you're fit enough to actually play. You can't just be like,
yeah,
yeah, I can walk, I can play cricket. If
yeah.
you're fucking injured,
When you're facing like Pat Cummins at like 90 miles an hour, I'll be like, I'm just on about one leg, but I'll do
yeah, if you're fucked, then
it.
it's detrimental to the team. So just
Yeah,
if you're not
and
fit,
I'm sure,
then just
yeah,
stay out.
I'm sure that medical staff and stuff would be like, look, you can't play. This is not good. So we'll see. I mean, it's, I think, basically about 6 tests in 7 weeks or something ridiculous. It is back to back all the time. But I mean, at least he has had that forced break. He didn't play the entire IPL, which I think was just not a great thing to go. I mean, he only played 2 games, so I can't really say it's a bad decision. But I think if he had gone there, he had been fit enough to play. I think it would have been more problematic than it is now. But yeah, he's fit. We hope. Um, but the other main contention point, which is about 2 or 3 weeks old now, is that as probably predicted and it's probably quite likely, Bairstow back in the team, back as wicket keeper. Um, first on the podcast, what are your thoughts or what were your thoughts about that? Do you agree, disagree? Are you a pro folks or pro Besson?
I don't think there was a right answer. I think if they played Folks over Bairstow, I don't think there would have been any complaints, and I don't think there's any complaints having Bairstow over Folks. I think the only question with Bairstow playing, and I assume keeping, is can he keep the from when he was batting last year
Yeah.
while he keeps? Well, I guess we'll see in this exhibition friendly preseason warm-up match.
Yeah.
But I've got nothing wrong with it. I would have had no complaints with Folks playing over him.
Yeah,
I think this is our best batting lineup.
yeah,
I
definitely.
would just have to see. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is an impossible decision because I don't think you can possibly say now you're all right, Johnny, after the last summer he had. I mean, whether you can replicate anything close to that this summer is obviously remaining to be seen. But I think it would be an incredibly, I don't know, harsh outlook to be like, nah, you're all right. I guess the difference is that he is going to be batting seven now as opposed to five, and like you say, he's going to be keeping instead. Um,
unless we
Brooke,
think he might bat six and Stokes will push himself to seven.
then yeah, I mean, it might be kind of flexible batting order, which you don't really see in Test cricket, but with this kind of Baz team, then probably like it probably would be a bit more flexible. I remember I think it was the Manchester Test, I think last year when Folks went in before Stokes because Stokes was on the loo or something. He was like, yeah, go in. So like, I mean, it's got that flexibleness. And I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen, or given the game situation, they pushed Johnny up to go give it a whack. Um, I think he had to play, and I think a lot of the arguments it would have been fun maybe to see him open, but he's not an opener. You could say that he's not going to do any worse job than Crawley, but Crawley has been brought up as an opener. People like Bairstow and Stokes haven't, and do you really want to, risk losing what they offer to the team by just forcing them at the top of the order? So, I can understand people being frustrated that Folks isn't playing and someone like Crawley is. Um, but I don't really think there was a way for Folks to be in the team, as harsh as it is, because he did absolutely nothing wrong over the last year. Um, but I think that's just international cricket and professional sport at the end of the day, that there's always going to be that fierce competition and tough decisions are going to be made. It's you're going to have to pick your best team. And at the moment, if Bairstow suddenly got injured next test, Folks come straight back in, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances for him, but
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is what it is.
it's a slight net positive in that you get a definitely better batsman,
Yeah,
slightly worse keeper. But I think you
yeah,
take that overall. The team is probably better with better in it. And like Folks has
yeah,
been doing well county level as well, hasn't he?
yeah. He's done really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, that's the um I think difficulty that a lot of people have, and again I can get it. I can understand. Someone like Joe Denny seems to be playing all right, but like, um, yeah, it's difficult because he hasn't literally put a foot wrong. I can't really think of a drop catch he's done. Um, it's nice to have that kind of reliability behind the stumps, and I think the other potential difficulty that you might face now is when does he come back in? Um, because I'd say Bairstow's got at least a couple more years at the highest level if he performs. Um, by that point, are you going to be looking to go back to Folks then? Might you be looking at a younger keeper for the future? I think there's a lot of difficulties that come with it, but it's no disrespect to Folks. This decision, it's just you gotta play, and that's going to be best at this stage. And I think let's let's see how it goes and have a good fun time. Like Brooke has only played one Test match in England. It was a Test against South Africa last year. I think he only got about 20 odd, so he may struggle at home, and that might be a way that Folks comes in. Don't know. I think he had a poor IPL other than that 100. He could do with some runs, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, have you any kind of predictions for this Ireland Test? Sorry, exhibition friendly game.
It'll happen.
Yeah,
Josh Tongue, 10 wicket haul,
yeah,
uh, 50 runs total. He'll start a bit slow with the run.
yeah.
I guess England win because
Whoa.
Ireland don't give a shite. Out it.
Can't wait. Gonna be a buzzing game, but I can't wait.
Over by
I've
day
not got.
three.
I think overdub. I think over by day three. I think England will bowl first. Ireland will be all out for about 140. England will race along to 300 or something, all out, but they whack it and then yeah, bowl out again. I'd imagine. But, Ireland might do something similar to last time, but I really don't think they will. Um, I think that covers it. Can't wait. Let's see how
Mm.
it goes. But I think people like, Crawley needs runs. Duckett's first game in England. Good for him to score some runs. Pope at free, vice captain, good to cement his mark. Brooke could also do some runs at home. But there's things to look out for and things to be interested about. But it's definitely not capturing the imagination, I would say. But we'll watch it. We'll have a fun time. Uh,
We might.
we might. Um, very briefly, the World Test Championship happens next week. Australia and India, just quickly, not based on anything. Who you think is going to win that at the Oval?
Um, India,
Yeah,
because
yeah. I mean, fair. I think they've got pretty much full strength side apart from Bumrah. I'm going to say everyone else is there.
that
Australia
could
was going to be.
it could like play into England's advantage with Australia having to play a more full-on
Well,
actual
is that yeah?
match.
This is the
They,
thing. It's their carbon copy. Different. There's the polar opposites. Not carbon copies. Polar opposites. Like you've got
what are you saying?
yeah.
This Ireland Test match is the most important match we'll
Sorry.
play
Yeah,
this decade.
the Ireland Cup, whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's going to be a fiercely competitive game, and I imagine a kind of very much Indian crowd as well at the Oval. That's going to be a fierce competition. I don't I have no idea what the pitch is going to be like because I think it's probably going to be ICC prepared pitch, so probably spin in favour India. Um, uh, they're just a better team. I mean, Warner's struggling. It's going to be worse for Australia, obviously, to lose this than India, I would say, because if Warner struggles again, Warner's then got to go straight back into face Broad in the first test. There's no kind of let up for him. Um, you've got people on their last Ashes tour as well, like Smith, Kawaja. Um, will want to make a mark. If they struggle against India, then can go straight back into another pressure Ashes series. Um, Bowling as well, if they don't quite hit their mark, and then they go in out of form. I think there's a lot more that could go wrong for Australia and obviously England in the Ireland DOS match. Um, but yeah, that's next week. Maybe we'll do a pod on it or a test review or something. Might be fun if it's interesting.
If we
It'll be on
remember. Yeah.
if we remember it's happening. But I think test matches at a neutral venue are always quite interesting. Um, they're very rare, so I think that might be fun to watch. But we'll see. We'll jump right into the other stuff, I guess, from what I could find. Um, Chennai Super Kings won the IPL. Thoughts?
Don't care.
Okay. To be fair, to be fair, it was a very good last over of cricket. I think they needed what, I don't know, something like 15, 16 off the last over. And I can't remember the bowler. Absolutely nailed four Yorkers in a row. And I think they only got 3 runs or something. It was yeah, absolutely every ball he absolutely nailed and they couldn't get him away. Um, and then they needed 10 off two, and then Jadeja smashed one for six, and then swept one for four. Um, so I mean, it was the fact it went down to that kind of level of the tournament is, I guess, testament to it, and it was very good cricket entertainment. And if it was shorter and condensed, I may have some vague interest. The fact it goes on for 2 months, I could not care. I think it was something like 70 games. Um, and I think Devon Conway last week or the week before hit the 1,006 of the tournament. And I'm like,
Oh, were there 1,000 sixes?
yeah, like,
Fuck me.
it's like, yeah, I relate it to like a Carl Pilkington quote, like, happiness is like a cake. If you have too much, you get sick of it. Like, I could not care less. Like a six is supposed to be like the pinnacle of a batter's innings or something. And like if you've got 1,000 of them in one tournament, like who cares? Um, Too much. But yeah, we're happy that's over. So long live the 100.
It's fine. The next IPL season will start next week, so
Oh
we'll
yeah, I mean
back
we're not
into
far away from
yeah.
that, let's be honest. So last week the Vitality T20 Blast did start. Um Have you watched any?
No,
It is very early to be honest to be starting. Again, this should be in like June or July, but again, it can't be because of another tournament happening. Um,
again, in my defense, I was in another country for part
oh
of it
yeah,
last
good
week.
point.
So,
But you're going to be watching all the games now. I think there's one
sure.
happening now, but I, it's difficult to get invested when it just feels like this isn't the time. Like this is when I should be watching a test match, and it's not on. But again, doesn't matter. I mean, people are watching it and enjoying it, or are people watching it? Last week, Lords was like half empty for like a derby match between Surrey and Middlesex. Um, and it didn't look great. Like Middlesex are poor at the moment anyway. I mean, I don't like to diss teams, but Middlesex have finished like second bottom of the T20 Blast groups for like the last 3 years. So as someone who lives fairly close to Middlesex, I don't really want to waste my time going and watch them and just get smashed. So I can understand it. Um, but I thought it would be interesting to look at different counties and see how they did it. And I did a post, which I was also doing during my lunch break at work, and gave it like half an hour of research. I'll smash it out. No one's gonna care. 57,000 years later, we have a lot of debates on our hands. Did I get them all right? Maybe not. Did I cause divides? Did I cause a few arguments? Yes. Um,
But that's what we're here for, to
that's we're
create
here.
discourse and conflict.
Oh, gee, yeah, we are. Um, so I'll briefly go because I mean, if you want to see, I've done the thread on Twitter. It's been interesting. I
We'll
have
link
learned a
it.
lot.
We'll link it in the description.
It'll
Thank
be in description. It's the pinned one. It's there for all to see. Um, so yeah, I'll run through it because I just thought it's interesting because we've got cost of living crisis, everything's going up. You've got a lot of sport, a lot of cricket to watch over the summer. What are you going to really put your money towards? Um, is it going to be the Blast? I, it's I don't love the 100, but do I want to watch higher competitive cricket than the game that was on between Surrey and Middlesex last week? Probably. Is it cheaper than the Blast? Definitely. So I thought I would go through. Here's all the prices, just as a vague one. If I've got any wrong, I will try and remember as I say what they should be. But people like Leicestershire, Glamorgan, Durham, all of them have tickets under 20 quid, which I think is good. Um, and they all have lots of different incentives as well. Like you can get ticket bundles, which effectively means you can go all to the games for basically a tenner or sometimes even less. Um, some have family tickets, so you can get free tickets for your kids and discounted for um, adults. If your kid plays cricket in Durham, plays for the All Stars or whatever, they get a free membership at Durham, which is good, and they can go and watch games, which I think is a really good incentive. Um, then you've got teams like Yorkshire, Worcester, Warwickshire, Gloucester, Northants, all under £25. Hampshire under £25, not 24. And then you've got kind of Notts, Derby, Kent, Essex, all in the kind of mid to late £20 marks kind of thing. Um, but all of these, I would say, all of them have different days as well, where they have like a day where I think Notts have one next Tuesday, for example, which is you can go for and it's tenner. Um, or some have like Warwickshire yesterday had a bank holiday day, so you could go to a double header of a women's game earlier, and then I think it's Lancashire, Warwickshire in the afternoon, and you can get those at a discounted rate. So they always have kind of offers and things like that, which I didn't know was a thing, which I found quite interesting. Um, and then the further you go, the higher they go. Sussex's was £30 as a starting rate, which I thought is a bit all right. I mean, it's quite a small ground. It's like obviously Brighton, Hove, it's and they've got good players and things like that, but I think £30 is a lot of money to pay for a T20 game. Um, in May when it's quite cold. It's like you want to go along and pay 30 quid. I think they did also have a ticket bundle beforehand, which could get you cheaper, but I understand ticket bundles are good and I think it can give you discounted, but most of those are sold out kind of at the end of February or March.
And you have to commit to multiple games.
Exactly, to get your money's worth. And who can really commit like in February or beyond? Yes, I'm going to go to every T20 Blast game, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what's happening. That's my life in May and June. It just can't happen. So I don't think that's necessarily it's good, it saves money, but it's also not good because it doesn't give many people the accessibility to go and see cricket whenever they want to for cheaper, which is what my main point is from this. Um, you then got Middlesex, who are the talk of the town. Um, theirs are £35 for an adult. So this is at Lords specifically. I had a lot of comments saying, "Oh, but they play at Radlett and they play at some school as well in Hertfordshire area, which are £23." But I mean, obviously, this post is about Lords because the whole discussion is about Lords. So those kind of comments are like annoying because I'm like, I'm obviously not talking about playing at Radlett. I'm talking about Lords. This is the Lords price. But even so, on that, £23 is a lot of money to go and see cricket at Radlett. It's it's a village club. It's a kind of a minor county, but I would be looking kind of £15 max. Am
And
I wrong? Or
like
would I
when we went there for what was it, a 1 day
50 over
trip?
game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like just sort of basic plastic chairs out
Yeah. Yeah.
around, weren't there? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
it's not a proper first class ground. It's just a bit
It's
of
a minor
the
county ground.
it's just a bit of field next to a pavilion.
It's a very nice ground and it's
Yeah.
obviously very good for stuff. But like £23, and then you've also got to factor in people, if you're a Middlesex fan, you live in London, you've then got to travel out from London to go to Radlett to watch these games. That's another tenner. So you are already kind of getting towards the 30 pound mark for money. And you've got grounds again, like I'll reconsult the list. Like you got Durham, you got Yorkshire, Warwickshire. These are grounds that host test cricket. Radlett doesn't do that, and all these other grounds are paying, their ticket prices are less. So I don't think that argument can be used. But I got too tired and couldn't be bothered to start replying with that as well. But yeah, annoying. But the main one that you've also got Lancashire, which I think have done very, very well with this. Their ticket prices can be anything between £11 to £24. Again, really varies on the game. So you can really save money if you can't quite afford a game, you can go to a different one. But they also very clearly label out throughout the ground different ticket prices. So a different stand might be 12 quid. A stand in the pavilion might be, I don't know, 20 quid. So if you can't afford that, you can afford somewhere else in the ground. And it's very clearly signposted where you can get that and what games you can do that. I think they're doing really well with that. I think that's kind of the model you want personally. Um, and Surrey, I don't think are great. They're 28 to £32, so they're kind of again high end London prices, especially considering what you pay for food and drinks and stuff. There, I think it's extortionate. But kids can go for a quid, which I think is good. Um, but Somerset, let me just quickly bring them up my thread, which took me a long time. Um, so £35 is their ticket in advance for an adult. Quite a lot, you may think. Um, that is category C of their ticket prices. They have three categories. Category B, I believe, is £41. Category A is £46 for an adult. I
What are
said
the
this in the post.
differences?
I guess you get, I guess, seats, I don't know, behind the bowler's arm, I don't know, a better seat, whatever. I don't understand. Even if it was an international game between, I don't know, India, Pakistan at Lords, I'm not paying £46 for a 2020 game. Like, you're paying more than a pound and over. It's extortionate to me. And a lot of the comments were, sorry, I'll let you go.
You're not even guaranteed to get the full game.
No,
So you're not even
no,
guaranteed to get paid. for a
Nope.
pound and over.
Hmm.
Oh, shit.
I think it's extortionate. I think it's nonsense. They do a lot for students and under 18s and things like that, and children can go free with two adults. But then with two adults, you've still got to pay like at least 70 quid. Um, so I mean, a lot of the replies, and I don't want to really stoke the fire or Ben stokes the fire too much. Um, but a lot of the comments were, "Oh, it sells out. Oh, they can charge what they want because the the people are there. People will pay that. People are going to go, so the prices are fine." I would say, sure, the prices are fine for those who can afford the prices. I don't know if you're a younger kid or someone or a family who doesn't have that kind of money, you can't afford to go and watch cricket, which I think is a shame. So I think it's problematic that you don't have anything cheaper than £35. I think that was one that really surprised me most, especially for kind of Somerset, I've always seen as this kind of family kind of team. But I don't know, I thought that was a bit surprising.
And just because I don't think there's a good comparison to be had, I think
Mm,
comparing it to the IPL, I've just Googled it quickly, so this won't be entirely accurate, but one of the
okay.
like you can get tickets starting from about 3,500 rupees, which is about
Mhm.
35 quid.
Okay.
But like I'm sure there's cheaper, and like in India there's
Mhm.
more demand for that
Yeah.
than there is for like a half filled ground
Yeah.
watching a shit team for maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I mean that's a good comparison, especially with that, top quality cricket. Um, yeah, I think 30 plus pounds is way too much for T20 cricket. Um, and it doesn't surprise me that grounds aren't quite full. But I was happy that a lot of the counties seem to be doing incentives. But then it surprises me when you have other counties be like, no, we're still going to charge them this horror amount. Obviously, Somerset doesn't have things like the 100 and things like that, so there is the argument they could lose money in August when they don't have any real cricket there. But at the same time, you're then pushing away so many people you could be getting into the game by charging £35 as a base price for a ticket. Um, it did cause a lot of a stir. I did step away from it in the end because I let other people argue about it instead. Um, and there's definitely the two sides. The people being like, "Well, it's the business. You need to. The people are paying this," but then there's also the other side. Well, you're not making it accessible, are you? Which I can understand. Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't know how that compares to like I don't know Premier League games or any kind of FA Cup games. I guess might be an equivalent. Um, but I thought it was quite an interesting look into. I might do the 100 next, and I think they might have just a staple price. But yeah, I thought it's quite interesting because there's no one set price for the blast. It's all very much county dependent, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, first result on Google for average Premier League ticket prices around 30 quid.
Yeah, uh,
Again, further demand of the Prem,
yeah,
that's like just good value. And that's gonna vary wildly from like between Aston Villa, Fulham,
yeah. Of course,
like Bournemouth, all the way up to like
yeah.
United, Arsenal. I think Arsenal are notoriously bad, especially for away fans.
Mm.
I think Germany have a really good
Uh,
model. I think teams like Borussia Dortmund have a season ticket that might even like match just a single ticket for some Premier League sites, but that's just
yeah.
off the top of my head and could be bullshit. So don't take that as
Well, some of
true.
the stuff I quoted that is an average price wasn't the average price. So I mean, it's
No, but
we yeah.
like when I've gone with my family to see Cheltenham,
Mm.
the ground is packed out.
Yeah,
I don't know, it might be 20 quid
yeah.
each, but that's still professional
Of course it
sport
is.
and
Yeah,
it's basically sold out.
yeah. Yeah, I think 2020's for last. I'd say you should be no more than 20-ish quid. I think that's completely fair. Um, I think any more than that, and I think you are starting to really rinse stands. I just can't. I would not pay £35 to go and see a Middlesex game. I'm sorry, it's like pointless. I can understand paying a bit more for a test match or something where you're going to obviously be spending the entire day and you're watching the highest quality of cricket. But a blast game, like you say, might not even last 40 overs. You may get a team like, for example, Warwickshire, Lancashire yesterday or the day before the bank holiday. They bowled out Lancashire for about 70 and then knocked them off in about 8 overs. If that was at Somerset, you've paid 46 quid potentially for that. Great. What a time. So yeah, I thought that was a fun study. Is there any study you would like me to do next, or if you would like to do?
Uh, I think looking deeper into like the comparison to IPL,
Yeah,
the English Premier League, Bundesliga, Football League, like just in general, I think that would be a good thing, an interesting
yeah,
thing to
yeah,
do.
for sure.
Yeah, like especially Football League, and because I think Premier League's just a different
I
strategy.
think I think Premier League could be probably comparing more with international cricket,
Yeah,
and then I would say FA Cups, Championship, League Ones, all that kind of stuff. I would probably relate more to something like the Blast, and then maybe non-league is more county championship. I don't know, that kind of thing. Don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's something we can look into, but I found it quite interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to compare it to a wider
Yeah,
range of
wider
things.
sport range. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed that. It's definitely the most engagement we've ever got from our little cheeky pod.
After
And
the
yeah.
fucking John Cena dance, fuck me.
If you don't follow us on TikTok, you won't get it. So you can follow us on TikTok and join our other 270 followers, whatever it is there.
Fucking
Um,
duality of social media.
I love it. I can't get my head around it. So you've got like really big debates happening on one end, and then the other you've got little John Cena having little dance. I love both, and I quite enjoy doing both. It's fun, but alas.
Uh,
Um, Last thing, I think we've talked about this nearly every single podcast. But Jason Roy is off to play franchise cricket after he's turned down an ECB contract. So he's signed a potentially a 2-year deal with a USA T20 franchise league instead of re-signing for an ECB contract. Um, I think this is it's obviously a story and it's obviously a big deal that he's kind of done a Trent Bolt and decided to play or decided to contract somewhere else because they offer him obviously more money. But I potentially can't see Roy playing for England after this World Cup. So for him, I don't really see this as much of a big deal. If it was someone like, I don't know, a current England player, I don't know, like a Harry Brook,
mhm.
I think that's a different deal. But, Roy's at the back end of his career. I think the 50 over World Cup is when he'll call it quits and then go play off into the T20 horizon. I think Mo's also been talked about that he might do a similar thing. But these are the guys in the back end of their careers. When it affects people who are in the current setup and in their prime, I think that's when we have the bigger issue. Someone like a Trent Bolt, I think, is an issue for New Zealand. But at the moment, it's not happening with England. But yeah, I mean, have you got any thoughts on that? But I think it's just the normal franchise stuff we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like 2010s sort of Premier League going off to the MLS
Yeah,
sort of vibe.
yeah,
But like, yeah, coming towards the end of his England career, like you said, it's a good life to have to be able to go off to different countries,
yeah.
play some
I love
cricket.
it.
I guess it just gets to the point of how do you fit your family back into that
Yeah,
time if you're going off, but if you're just playing franchise stuff, you can sort of manage your time a bit more, I guess.
yeah. I suppose so. Yeah, and you might only have to play like two franchise competitions a year to earn as much as you would for an England contract, traveling all the way around the year for 12 months, I suppose. So you could play like 2 blocks of, I don't know, maybe 3 months of cricket and you'd be all right. But it's tricky, but it's up to them really. If they want to play it and want to play it, do it.
Like, there's nothing to say that, let's say Roy, for example, can't take his family over to a
Yeah,
country where he's playing franchise cricket and use that as a holiday for them all. So,
no, yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I agree. I think a lot of players do. So yeah, why not? So I think it's again cause a lot of a stir, but also I'm not that surprised. Um, so that's our cricket news. I don't think much else has been happening, or at least that's the main stuff we've been seeing, or has been reported, or has been chatted about. Um, anything from you, Jamie, or are you got straight into your notch crick?
I think we jumped straight into the not crick.
Okay, so if you're a cricket fan, cricket has ended. We are now into the not
Mhm.
aspect of our podcast. It is now time for just not cricket, as always presented by Jamie.
Yeah. And we like talking about sort of Premier League on here. The Indian Premier League is our favorite thing, which we'll have a special episode for, I
Yeah,
think, next April 1st. So
yeah, sure.
the English Premier League season has just finished.
For football,
For football,
yeah.
so I just like naturally think, oh, what's my team of the season? Who's been the best?
Oh,
Like,
okay. Yeah.
so yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing a team of the season
Oh,
because seeing as everyone else
that's
is
fine.
doing it, why the fuck
I
not?
mean,
You
I
can
I'll
input
I'll have
whatever you want.
I will comment on the players I recognize,
That's
and if I
all,
don't know them, I'll be like, "That's a good player."
that's all
And
I can ask for. Uh, so here we are.
oh, you've done something as well. Okay,
Oh
blimey.
yeah, fam.
Oh, wow.
Let's just fucking
Okay.
move
Oh, right. So is this your
over things.
squad, or is these the players that you've like narrowed it down to?
So these are the players narrowed it down to. I think
Right.
Trippier, Kane, Haaland have had so good of a season that there's no debate around their position.
Hmm.
So Trippier gets in
Yeah.
right back, Kane, Haaland have to be the two
Yeah.
strike.
I have to say that, as a vague Tottenham fan,
Mm.
that Kane scoring 30 goals in that team this season is almost as good as Haaland's record, I would say. Personally, I think it's nonsense that he's been able to get that many goals and for Tottenham then to finish eighth in that capitulation. Haaland's a freak and can score for a goal, but like in that turmoil of a Tottenham team, for Kane to get 30 goals, I think is madness.
It's also very Harry Kane, very Spurs for him to score 30 goals and still not be top scorer. Which
I think it's the second time it's happened to him, isn't it? I think.
I think so. I think it happened
Yeah,
a couple of years ago when Salah got
Salah, yeah,
30 odd goals.
yeah,
It's just quite funny.
yeah, mad. I think before we jump into your team, lest we forget, we had for someone who doesn't really follow football, I feel like I now follow football. We discussed, I think it's the Tottenham United game,
We did.
and I posed a question to you then, would you take Harry Kane at United?
Hmm.
And you said no.
I did.
Can we revisit this question? Would you take Harry Kane at United?
I think context is important. And at the time, Ronaldo has just scored a hat trick against Spurs. He was basically one of the two players having a good
Uh-huh.
season for United last
Yeah.
season. He is now not played well this season, fallen out with the manager, did
Yeah.
an interview against everyone's wishes with one of the
Yeah.
most abhorrent people in media,
Yeah. Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
now not doing amazing in the Saudi league. So
What would that be?
I think I'd take Kane now. I
Give him a look.
I don't think it's happening though. I think
Oh, I don't think
Levy's
so.
going to be a bit of a twat about it.
100%. Kane is not going anywhere. We can quote this again in like September. He's that it's first of all you got to get through negotiating with Daniel Levy, which is not going to be budging. Um, and he'll end up signing a new contract because also Levy won't want to lose money next year when he goes on a free. It's just it's this is going to happen because you get rid of Harry Kane at Tottenham, and then what have you got
Uh,
mid-table?
yeah, no, I think Levy is twerking for Real Madrid a bit. I He
Mm,
doesn't want to. He said, or it's been leaked through various press, that he doesn't want to sell Kane to a direct rival.
yeah.
If he's selling Kane to United, it's not a direct rival because Spurs finished fucking eighth. But he doesn't want to sell Kane to another Premier League team.
Can I just quickly? I'm just curious. Where did United finish last year? Seventh.
Last year,
All right,
God,
because I think they've quite mirrored each other.
I
Because
think,
I also said last year that they are quite similar, and
mm,
I feel like Tottenham have had United season this year, and then United have had probably slightly better Tottenham season last year. The
I
good end of Tottenham season. Obviously, they won a trophy instead, but like
yeah,
they got top four.
I think
Um,
in terms of how the clubs have been run in recent years, they are quite similar.
hmm,
But United have had like Woodward's been fucked off, and we've got
yeah,
a new director of football and a new
hmm,
CEO that still
yeah,
have question marks about them. But you can see that clubs doing slightly different things.
yeah,
There's a lot of trust put into Ten Hag,
hmm,
especially over like last summer with the transfer window.
yeah.
I like it
I
feels
think
like
Tottenham.
a positive step for
y-
United, whereas
Yeah,
Spurs are doing the negative step back.
yeah, yeah. They're
I
it's utter shambles now. Like even from my limited knowledge, it's very difficult not to see it as a complete utter shambles
Yeah,
right now.
so like I think
Like everything's going wrong.
Yeah, Paratici, their sporting director, left
Hmm.
a few weeks
Yeah,
ago, or a month ago or so. I think in relation to the Juventus bullshit that's happening,
yeah, yeah,
it's just a mess. Like
yeah.
you're a club that got Jose sacked him before a final, so you
Uh-huh.
don't have to pay him a bonus in case they won. So
Yeah,
you put
yeah,
Ryan, who never managed a senior
yeah.
team against Pep Guardiola.
Crazy,
So
absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's and then you obviously bring Conte, and you know how's going to go with Conte, and then you get rid of Conte, and you don't have a plan for who you're going to bring in.
and then you sack
Like,
the interim to Conte
yeah,
for Ryan
it's
Mason
basically
again.
Conte part two. But and then someone like Poch, who's a big Tottenham faithful that person, like people would were kind of wanting to see Poch back, I would say, or you'd take him, and then you get him go to Chelsea. It's like it's just like, but
I,
enough.
I,
We're onto your team. We're onto your team season.
Cool. So starting with keepers, I think there's two options
Hmm.
really. I think David Raya and Emi Martinez have had good shouts for this, but it's for me it's between Ramsdale. Oh, Allison as well at Liverpool, but
Hmm.
I think Ramsdale and Pope have stood out as two very good keepers. Pope's had a lot of like good performances, lots of clean sheets. Ramsdale has fit Arteta's style more than I thought he would. He plays
Yeah.
out from the back quite well. He has a good pass out to the fullbacks.
Hmm.
I think of the two, I think this is going to be Everton by my choices, but I'm going to be a bit harsh on Arsenal, considering
I
they've
think,
been in a title race for most of the
yeah,
season. But I think when you get to the 14, you'll see why they don't get in. But personally, I think Pope had the better
yeah,
season.
we'd have a Pope on the Just Not Crick pod.
Exactly. We've got to have a Popey in the team.
Yeah, I agree. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's all good with me.
Yeah. There are five centre backs I've picked out in
Yes.
Sandro Martinez, Ruben Diaz, Saliba, Sven Botman, and Lewis Dunk.
Mm.
I think just the season Brighton have had in general has been incredible, especially after they lost Potter. They were looking
Yeah.
good under Potter as well. They
Yeah.
look substantially better with
Yeah.
Derby.
100%.
I don't think Dunk gets in the team, but I think I just wanted to
He's
put,
a, he's he's on the bench.
yeah, sure. Anyone who isn't in the 11 is on the bench. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Uh, Being a United fan, I'm just putting Martinez in because he's completely, without Martinez, United are a completely different team.
Sure. Yeah.
I think without Casemiro during his two suspensions, we were different, but we got through it. We're
Mhm.
just about getting through not having
Yeah.
Martinez. I think the only
Yeah.
player that's more influential on United is Bruno because we just don't create anything without Bruno.
Yeah,
But our lack of goals without Martinez is very obvious because he like plays
yeah.
through the back very well. So call it United bias, I don't care. But
No, I think he's kind of from that. I remember that Brentford game. I think was the crazy one at the beginning of the season. It's like, what on earth's going on? Um, I don't think many people had a good game, but he's only come from strength to strength from what I have seen. So I'd say fine.
I don't even think he had a bad game in those first two games. He was taken off at
So,
half time against Brentford, I think, to protect him
yeah.
media wise, but like it was more down to I think Ten Hag went in and wanted us to play a very specific style. Immediately, he gave players like Maguire a chance
Yeah.
as one of those players that to play out from the back, and he's just not that player. But
Hmm.
by doing that, he's showing Maguire, he's showing the team as a whole. If we have to play in my system, this player can't really be the first choice
Yeah.
player. So I,
Yeah. That's that.
as bad as those results were, I think they were necessary for United to move
A
forward.
necessary evil.
Yeah, and like looking back now, decent season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You take it. Yeah.
yeah. And I think Martinez's influence is sort of echoed by Saliba's influence at Arsenal. So I'm going to put Saliba in,
Hmm.
because without him, it sort of coincided with Arsenal's drop in form and their
Yeah.
bottling of the title, basically. I don't think City have been fucking blistering this season, but they've still got 90 points. They're just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah.
But Arsenal threw that away, and it wasn't
Understand.
throwing it away against decent teams. They threw it away in draws
Yeah.
against Southampton. They lost against Everton.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They were
You
2-0
d-
up
you just
against
had a sense it
Liverpool.
was always
Like,
going to happen, didn't you? Like it's just it kind of. I think we were watching the Liverpool game, weren't we? I think, or that Arsenal game. Vague. I think we were at a pub, weren't we? I think wasn't that the game Arsenal Liverpool? I swear it
yeah,
was.
I think so.
Yeah, that was the kind of turning point, wasn't it? I think didn't they have? It was like a 10 point lead or something, wasn't it? Once I don't know.
They were
Um,
definitely 8 points ahead at some point.
yeah, it's mad. Yeah, I just can't believe how you throw that away, considering the momentum they had and all that kind of thing. It was just crazy. So I mean, crazy nonsense. Um, who is playing on your left?
On left, it's between Luke Shaw again, Estepinian at Brighton. I think done brilliantly and had to shout out, but and maybe the United bias is hitting that, but I'm putting Luke Shaw in because he's been just fucking solid. And like again, you can see his absence when he's not playing.
Sure.
And he's come in at left centre back where he's never played before and looked really good. So
Fair.
I think he deserves a shout there.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Brighton to say whether the Brighton player goes in, so I'll just say they are good players.
Sure. So speaking of Brighton player that I'm putting in, I'm
Good.
putting Moises Caicedo in
There he
because
is.
a fucking baller. He, he control every game I see him play, he controls it
Mm, yeah.
completely. And it's not like the De Bruyne way. So I'll just put De
Mm.
Bruyne in because
Oh yeah. Does that mean that Odegaard isn't playing?
that's the thing. I think Bruno has had this might be biased again, but Bruno has the most chances created and the most big chances created in the Premier
Mm,
League, which is like he's had one of the best seasons out of the playmakers, but he's not been rewarded because United don't have a striker,
mhm.
or they have Wout Weghorst, who has scored
Yeah.
2 goals. He's on loan from a championship club.
Yeah. We have him ready.
So as much as I'd like to put Bruno in, I think he's not got the assist.
No, I don't think he gets in.
I want to put him in desperately, and I want to put Casemiro in, but I think Caicedo's had such a donking season, you can't not have him
Yeah.
in. And I think like that's part of the Arsenal thing. Odegaard should be in there, but De Bruyne has been so much better.
They won the title in the end, don't they? So
Exactly.
yeah, fair enough.
I think that's the same for the two wing positions as well.
Hmm.
Like Saka should get in. He's
Mm,
got like 14 goals, 11 assists, but Salah's got more than
yeah.
in both regards.
Yeah.
in a bit of a meh Liverpool team.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think that's the one position where I'm a bit torn over because Saka has done very well this season.
Is there any Arsenal players in there, just quickly?
Yeah, Saliba's
So
in
far?
there.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. Okay, fine.
And like it is harsh. It's harsh on Odegaard and Saka and
Yeah.
you know, like Granit Xhaka, who before this season has been a bit of a shit show, but
Yeah.
you know, he's not
Fair enough.
here. And like same with Martinelli. Like Rashford has had such a good season goal scoring wise and influence on United. Like he has to get in. I think Martinelli's done brilliantly, but not enough to go over Rashford. And like just honourable mentions to Callum Wilson, Ollie Watkins, especially after the World Cup.
Hmm.
Really good goal scoring form. Wilson, I think, is the third top goal scorer
Right.
in the league, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And considering Newcastle spent 70 mil on Isak to be
Mm.
their main striker, I think it's just
Yeah.
a great season. Like Pep has just won manager of the season, but I think it's just a bit of a cop out for
That's just an easy decision, isn't
Pep.
it?
Yeah,
Like what? It's Emery's at Aston Villa, isn't he?
yeah. I think
Yeah, and he's done an insane job.
it's not just that; it's how shit Gerrard was doing
Yeah.
Villa for then Emery to take them to Europe.
Yeah.
I think for De Zerbi to take Brighton to Europe,
Yeah.
how to get Newcastle in top four
Hmm.
his first full season. Marco Silva putting Fulham top half of the table
Yeah.
after they've just been promoted. O'Neill at Bournemouth, he took over from Scott
Mm.
Parker early on after
Yeah.
Parker had a bit of a mare. And
Yeah.
Steve Cooper at Forest, to keep like
Yeah.
it could
To
be
stick with him as well. There's a lot of, when Forest weren't doing particularly well, to stick with him rather than doing the manager sacking thing as well. I think it's a big thing.
exactly. You can pick any of those for manager of the season. So you've done Ryan Mason for manager of the season.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I think Newcastle have been consistently good. Eddie Howe's done very well. Um, Obviously Brighton, when they got rid of Potter, potential turmoil could have had a loss of form, but they managed to, say improve. I just think from how bad Gerrard was and what Emery's done at Aston Villa has been monumental, really. That kind of turnaround has been crazy. To get into Europe, I think it's been from where they were to where they are now, I think it's great. But that's just my vague feeling.
I'm very tempted to put it as Emery. I think it's so difficult.
But Howe has been very consistent, I suppose. Got them to a final, got
Exactly.
them fourth.
I'm tempted to go De Zerbi, though, because
Okay,
he
yeah, yeah, that is
elevated Brighton
to another level.
to an extent that
Yeah,
that wasn't possible. Like as bad as Gerrard was with Villa, it is a good squad, and as well as
yeah,
Emery has done, he has overachieved as well.
yeah,
I think De Zerbi's gotten more out of Brighton than Emery gotten out of Villa.
yeah.
If
And
that,
potentially you could say that, if would Villa have got where they would if, Tottenham hadn't capitulated. I feel like Brighton would have always finished kind of top six, seven regardless. But
I
I
think
think the
Brighton were
way
heading that
Tottenham
way
imploded,
with Potter
yeah,
anyway. Yeah,
yeah. But Tottenham
yeah,
just imploded, which let Aston Villa come in. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So that's my best team of the season. So
Mhm.
like people let me know if I'm being a bias. No,
You let
like
me know.
wait, yeah, you can let me know now. But like I didn't ever see a worse team of the season. So I thought it was just fun to sort of throw
Yeah.
in this next one if it will.
Okay. I'm excited. This could be fun.
I mean, it could be if it will
Oh, if it
show.
loads, there
There
it
we
is.
go.
Oh, Lampard. Oh, Lampard or Gerrard. That's a really difficult. I think Lampard,
So
I
I know. I
suppose,
think
getting
there's no
sacked and
question.
then
There's no question about who the worst manager is. I just wanted to put Marsh was utter shite for Leeds,
uh-huh.
but Leeds are shit.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention him. He's an
Hmm.
awful manager. And like Gerrard again, for how good the Villa squad is, criminal for how bad
Yeah.
they were doing.
Yeah.
But Lampard is a in my notes, I put manager in quotation
Bracket,
marks. He is
pretty
not,
much.
he's
Yeah.
awful. Even when he was at Derby, he was getting help from Chelsea.
Yeah.
He had Mount and Fikayo Tomori on loan there. Yeah, he's
Oh,
had,
it's nonsense.
he's,
Then to almost, have people talk about, oh, it never happened, but to have people even mention Chelsea in a relegation sentence is ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I just, super Frankie Lampard.
I mean, United fans were singing that when we played them the other.
It
Uh,
was diabolical.
he
Like,
has
I cannot get my head around
he has a 10% win percent
it.
for Chelsea. And that's not like 10 games, six draws. That
Yeah.
is 10 games, one draw, one
Yeah.
win.
Though, I mean, to be fair to him, he kept Everton up last year and he kept Chelsea up this year.
Like, no, he's not managed to relegate
No,
either of the teams he's managed this season. He's just had to,
he tried.
he very much tried.
They somehow beat Bournemouth. Oh, imagine if they hadn't beat Bournemouth or like lost
I,
to. I just really
I think,
want them to be in it.
no, I think even if they'd lost all 10 of the games, I think they'd have been safe. But it would have
Yeah,
been really funny.
I know.
Like, I was desperate for Everton to get relegated last year because it's
Yeah, it would have been great.
so funny if Lampard got relegated.
Yeah, or
Like,
Frankie.
yeah, and like in relation to that, like I've got my own sort of Chelsea
Yeah,
left wing
sure.
thing going on.
Yeah,
Like Kukureya, Koulibaly, and Modric have been shite signing. Like Koulibaly is a strange one because he was doing well at Napoli, but they've
yeah,
managed to rinse Chelsea like every fucking one out. Like like Kukureya had a shit season. Like Brighton have just replaced him,
yeah,
and Estepinian's in like the conversation for team of the season, left back of the season.
yeah.
And like Arsenal are fucking overjoyed that they missed out on Modric because he doesn't look like a professional footballer. He's a bit quick, he's
Yeah,
sharp,
yeah.
but he just doesn't. He's a bit
Tries his best.
chaotic and raw.
Yeah.
He's moved to Chelsea too early.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a lot of the rest of the team is well, basically the right hand side of the team. They're all relegated players. Like
Yeah.
Villiers been a part of the league team that's been the most goals this season. Wout Faes is just a walking mistake at Leicester. Uh, Weston McKennie has had like chance of you fat bastard from the league fans, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, like the only two, I mean, Mount and Tielemans are on there for similar reasons in that they're not bad players, but
Yeah,
the expectations from them have just like fallen so far
yeah,
below that.
yeah,
Like I would take Mount at United. He's been linked with us.
yeah.
He wouldn't be a starting player. And, like just the whole utter bullshit at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think you've got
Um,
there's got to be an element of that, the fact you're in this club in complete turmoil. Yeah, but I don't think you become a bad player after one bad season.
well, no, exactly. Like United had a, a similar-ish season last year.
Mm.
Not as bad because they still got European
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
Chelsea had finished fucking bottom half,
12, is it 12? 11 for 12.
12th, I think.
12. Love it.
Both the West London like rivals in the Premier League have finished above them.
Yeah,
It's just amazing.
it's great to see. Great to see.
Oh,
Um, I see no Tottenham players made it into the worst team, which I guess is a win.
yeah, no, as well, Spurs have just been a bit meh.
Yeah, like
I
this,
think,
I don't think no one's really been there, which I can't be like you're bad. I think it's just like a lot of people just need to move on. Like, got people like Dyer and Sanchez and those kind of players. So I just think like you need to be shown the door. Lloris is way past his best. Um, yeah, like Son's not had a good season, but I don't think he's not got the goals, but I mean he's also not been in a good team. It's not even worth talking about as a worst. It's just been like they're just
Yeah, like Spurs were in the top four for quite a while, but I think
yeah, like
even then they were flattering to deceive. I think they
overachieving.
were really
Yeah,
poor
yeah,
throughout the season, even with Conte.
yeah.
Like Richarlison's been a weird signing. He's only scored
Bizarre.
one goal,
Yeah.
I think, and it was like a 90th minute equalizer at Liverpool where he
And
did
then
a
they
stupid chicken
won
dance, and then Liverpool went on to win
10
the
seconds
Belgian.
later.
Like,
That was a nonsense game. But
yeah,
it's entertaining, funny, bad, which is what I can appreciate. Like I don't think you can carry on that a bit. If you're gonna be bad in a funny way.
like Chelsea. Like everyone
Yeah,
has
yeah.
enjoyed Chelsea's
Is that
utter
oh yeah,
meltdown.
100%.
Apart from
Been
Chelsea,
fantastic.
it's
Yeah.
like I've seen some comments on Reddit, like really enjoying Chelsea's from Chelsea fans. Like when the transfers were happening, they were
Yeah.
very excited. Like, how
Yeah.
can you like manage this squad of
I
about
know.
60 players? It's only
Yeah,
going to
it's impossible.
like I felt I said to our Chelsea supporter friend, I think Chelsea are going to have a bit of a off season, especially with the like ownership sort of thing. I think there's going to be a bit of trauma holding on over to that. But I
Yeah.
thought that meant like sixth or seventh.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling was going to look a bit crap in this team.
Yeah.
I think Sterling's overrated. Anyway,
Yeah.
even from his City days, I think he benefited from having like high
Not good.
XG chances converted to get a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But he's been one of their better players,
Yeah.
which isn't a good sign.
Oh goodness.
And I don't think Poch is going to do much better.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
deck
really,
chairs on the Titanic. Is that the saying?
I've no
Like
idea.
it's just reshuffling and it's just the same old problems.
This is
I
what
can't see it.
happens when you have Lampard at the helm of the ship.
Yeah,
You hit a fucking iceberg.
they should have just kept Lampard. Feel good vibes.
It would have been the best thing.
Oh dear. But
But
no,
there
I
we are.
enjoyed that. I
Yeah,
was expecting a worse team, so that's a nice surprise.
yeah. Like no one ever thinks, oh, who's been
No.
proper shit
Yeah,
this season? It's very easy to go Southampton, Leeds, Everton, Leicester, and like
yeah.
more than half of the team were those players. But I think it's very important and funny to
To respect
remember
what Chelsea
how
have done.
bad to Chelsea have been. Yeah.
No, I enjoyed that. Maybe at the end of the cricket season we'll do a best and worst team.
Uh, Josh Tongue will be in it, the best team,
Yeah, good. I hope so.
regardless of how many games he plays. He's in the
Yeah,
best team.
he's in the best team. I guess it would have to be a combined Australia-England team because there's obviously not going to be enough players who are going to play a man five. But oh well. Um, but yeah, good times. I hope you enjoy that. Just not crick as well. I was enjoying not crick. Football season's over now, basically, so might not have a football one for a while.
Just a couple of weeks to go, couple of
Yeah, a
squeaky,
couple of finals.
nervy games.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But we've also got cricket to come, which is yay mostly. Am I right?
Yes, because Josh Tongue
Yes.
is playing
Josh Tongue is
every
playing.
game this
That's
summer.
that's going to be the title of the podcast. Josh Tongue is playing. Um, but yeah, that's all really. I think. Oh, I thought it wasn't going to be a too long episode this time, and then I think we've done another long one.
I don't
But
know. I don't know how we do it. We like oh we don't have anything to talk about.
I know we talk about it for ages. Yeah.
2 hours
Um,
again later.
next time I'm gonna hand on the heart say we're not going to talk about franchise cricket.
We probably will.
But we'll see. I probably will. So yeah, we'll be back. Maybe we'll do a World Test Champ. Maybe we'll do a Test match preview of what the exhibition match review. Maybe we'll do something for that. Maybe likened to our old T20 World Cup days, potentially. Um, maybe we'll do a Test Championship podcast or video, whatever. Um, But yeah, cricket season I guess has started, so I guess there might be more content from us, um, eventually. Um, there will definitely be actual cricket from us for the Whippets. If you're in London, you want to play Wicket Whippets, go find us. Um, Look, they're running over there. It's a Whippet. Um, uh, but in the meantime, people can find us on the internet. Where can they find us, Jamie?
At Just Not Crick Pod, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Uh, that'll do for now.
Spotify and other things.
Apple
Um, so
Podcast.
so yeah, Apple, yeah, all those. So if you want to follow us, give us a listen. Do please. Helps the show out, I guess. I don't know if it does, but people will say that. But yeah, happy days. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Josh Tongue is going to play.